Hey VC, this is the music room tour. The music room tour that I promised 2 years ago. Approximately 2 years ago, maybe even exactly 2 years ago, I uploaded a music room tour of a room half this size. Since then, thanks to my kind wife, we have extended this man cave space and a number of other rooms in the house. And this is the culmination of that effort. Much longer than I thought it would take to both finish the construction, decorate it, and kit it all out. And it's still not quite there. As I'll show you, there are aspects of it that still needs some work, but it's in a state at which I'm proud of it, and it feels like somewhere that's a sanctuary and somewhere that I'm comfortable to show on the VC and show you all as my space. So without further ado, let's begin the tour. Okay, let's begin the tour then. For those interested in just a hi-fi kit, I think that's going to appear the last 5-10 minutes of the video for those who want to fast forward. But why not stick around for the whole thing? There's lots of interesting things in the media room stroke man cave. But what a surprise, we start with a Kallax unit. We start with a Kallax unit because certainly in the UK, it's the most obvious, the most cost-effective and the most sturdy means of, for most of the VC and most vinyl collectors who have a collection of scale, to house their record collection. So I am no exception. So this is rock and pop only A to J. Why is the storage V-shaped in terms of the vinyl? I hear you ask. That is because I deliberately bought. This is one of 3 Kallax units I'll show you, and there's other storage in the room. But it's deliberate because I want to make sure that I have enough room to expand the collection. This is hopefully, touch wood, my man cave media room for the next, who knows, 10, 20 years, who knows. But if it is, I don't want to run out of space, and I haven't got, even though it's a big space, this room, I haven't got enough room to keep adding more and more Kallax. So therefore, it's V-shaped because I want to make sure that I have enough room to expand the collection across the 3 Kallax that I have. So A to J of rock and pop only. Other genres I'll show you later on. Other cool thing that I've just added actually is a labelling system for any artist that I have seen more than 6 or 7 LPs by. So you see David Bowie there. Go down here and you can see I've added it for Bob Dylan, the Eagles and ALO. And the point is I was just getting a bit fed up with a collection of now over 2,000 of having to find an artist, and it just looks quite nice aesthetically to have that. It's a bit record store-esque, I guess, but I quite like the way it looks. I have seen those DIY systems where people use old vinyl records and put either a letter of the alphabet or the artist name on it. I just don't find that aesthetically very pleasing for me. So this is a more expensive option because I had to buy a label printing machine and I had to buy these dividers which weren't cheap. But given how much I've invested in my collection, I thought I would do it properly. Hence that labelling system. I'll probably add some more labels, but it's not going to be for every artist because then it'll just look a bit silly. Even in record stores, they don't tend to have a label for every single artist. So what I've done instead is added these things here. You can see here the D, and then for major artists where I own a lot of albums. And I do own quite a few Bangles LPs, and I make no apologies for that, which is why the Bangles have their own section. So that's A to J of the collection. It looks like above that, I've made an absolute hash of displaying 4 albums above. It's not in a straight line. It needs a new shelving system. So the OCD vinyl collector in me doesn't like that. And so I'll correct that, the fact that they're not straight very shortly. What you can see there is I'll keep swapping this up, but at the minute I've got No Dice by Badfinger, one of the best, if not the main second-hand purchase of 2024 for me. I really love the fact that I've managed to get a hold of that. It's not a very common thing to stumble upon, so I had to use Discogs. And then War in the Babylon by Max Romeo and the Upsiders, really great dub reggae LP. The Caution Horses by the Cowboy Monkeys, love that LP. And I've just bought this, probably certainly up there with the best Pizza Underground LPs, which is 16 Tambourines by the 3 O'Clock. Excellent LP. But these will keep swapping around. As I start to get bored with what's displayed, I'll change them around. But that's A to J. If we sweep right, This is an article that I wrote for a now defunct, sadly defunct, magazine named Long Live Vinyl. I wrote this this article just before or just at the start of lockdown. So what's that, coming up to 6 years ago now? And they had a monthly feature where a reader could submit a few photos and an article about their collection. So that's what I did on this article. Worryingly, at the time, I'm suggesting that I had 1,040 vinyl at that time, and now my collection is 2,100 or just over. So it's doubled in 6 years, sorry, which is slightly worrying. Hence why I'm so keen to deploy the V-shape in the Kallax. A couple of nice pictures there. It's kind of a disintegrating guitar picture. The freewheeling Bob Dylan's classic second LP in a kind of framed format. It's not an actual LP cover, it's a picture. And then this is an important piece of the man cave. You can see what you see here is the new arrival bins. And the importance of these is I have a unofficial rule that I will listen to brand new LPs up to 10 times before I file them in the main collection, which kind of stops this from being a library and ensures that it continues to be a record collection, right? I don't want a library, I want a record collection. I want things that I listen to and I enjoy. Otherwise, it just becomes a library piece. It's a bit like stamp collecting if you do it like that. And that's fine for those who want to do that, but I want a record collection, not a library. Hence the new arrival bin. So that's to the left of the entry point of the room. We sweep right and we'll avoid the hi-fi for now because we'll do that last. This plant is named Jerry. I'll come to explain why he is named Jerry later. A couple of nice pictures, including the Grateful Dead's Skull and Roses poster, the Monterey Festival 60s poster, Iron Maiden's The Trooper. Then we've got a couple of 7-inch single boxes. What I'm trying to build in this collection, and I'll probably complete this during 2025, is I want this to include to encompass the 57-inch singles that meant the most to me when I was growing up. So I'm kind of part way there. Some of it I would include in that 50, others I wouldn't. But I'm getting there, and it's just a nice box to have. It's a bit like the John Peel box that his family found after he died. Hopefully I'm not dying anytime soon, we'll see. But the point of it is, if I can house the 50 singles that meant the most to me growing up in this box, that would be the nice thing to have. Then there's more 7-inch singles below that nice box. Then we sweep across. We've got a fairly common Pink Floyd poster there, displaying some of their album covers. The space here beneath that picture is deliberately blank because when I'm in the listening space, which I'll show you later, I don't want to be looking at anything. I want to be focusing on the music. So it's not boring that space is empty. It's because I don't want my eye shot to be looking directly at something when I'm trying to enjoy the music. So that's quite deliberate as stands. Then I have a currently playing LP down here, or the last spun LP tends to go on that one shelf there above a plant that's named Garcia. So now you see the logic. I have Jerry on the left, plant number 1, keeps across the top of the hi-fi, and then Garcia as plant 2 because I'm a Grateful Dead fan. I'm getting there as a Grateful Dead fan. I just thought that was quite a nice silly thing to do. So that is Garcia, which probably needs watering, but it's a nice plant. Sound of the North picture, which is a depiction of 20 years of albums from the north of England, because I'm from the north of England originally, from 1977 to 1997. So I'll zoom in there just so you can see without the glare, hopefully, some of the album names from the north of England in that 20-year span. Then we've got almost certainly my favourite band in the world, even ahead of the Rolling Stones, even ahead of the Beatles, even ahead of Pink Floyd, is the Rolling Stones. The best band I've seen live, in my opinion, the best rock and roll band there ever was. Even though, as I say, I love many other bands, I think the Stones are up there for me. So that's why they command the biggest framed poster in the room, which is about over a metre long in terms of that poster. Then we move on to Kallax 2. which continues from K in the alphabet down to Y actually, but still just rock and pop. There's a bit less of a V shape there, just because of how it's worked out. But that's the second of 3 Calax. And then again, poorly aligned displayed albums at the top there. You can see Dark Matter by Pearl Jam, one of the albums that I highly regard from 2024. Didn't feature in my top 5 video, but I still loved it nonetheless. It was a real return to form for me. Pearl Jam, the Delvin Lamar organ trio, fantastic. A couple of blue notes there. That's a 80s reissue of on DMM, Blue Note 80s label of Rolling with Leo by Leo Parker on sax, and then you've got Larry Young's organ quartet classic album Unity on the Blue Note Classics label. So 4 albums above Calax number 2 there, and various paraphernalia. You have an Amazon Echo. I can watch lots of YouTube on that, including the VC, which comes in handy. That's the only thing in the room that would qualify as anything like a TV. I don't want TV in the room. Some candles, some nice mugs there. There's a XL on Main Street and the Pink Floyd Animals mug, and various cartridge swap outs that I can do, and I'll come onto the system later. You can see a couple of Audio Technica cartridges there. That's the box from Mahana moving coil cartridge, and there's an autophone below it. A few more 7 inches in this box here. I still think I need to get more in the way of 7 inches, but that completes the picture of Calax 2. And then you have a couple of very important things actually. First of all, I've added this heavy rotation whiteboard that I can keep rubbing out and reinstating albums that I want to or that I'm currently listening a lot to. So with a collection of over 2,000, I think that just allows me, along with the random button in Discogs, which is quite useful, allows me to just focus in on albums and not ignore albums for years and years. So that's the function of the heavy rotation whiteboard, which I'll keep updating over time. You can see the top half of it is rock, the bottom half is jazz, soul, and other. So that's that. And then there's 2 other things beneath that. This is a bag from a record store in the West Midlands, out in the countryside. I forget exactly where, but Spin the Black Circle. And because my channel's named Spinning the Black Circle, I thought it would be quite a nice thing to have on the wall in the media room. Then you have these headphones, these noise cancelling Bluetooth headphones from Bowers and Wilkins PX7s, which I bought during lockdown, and they still continue to be absolutely amazing, even for a picky listener like me, in terms of listening on the move or just around the house and I'm doing jobs. So that's the PX7s. And 2 more important things: you have my Project VCS Mark II record cleaner and a brush. There is no record in it as my collection that hasn't been wet cleaned. Once it's been wet cleaned, it goes into an anti-stat bag. They all do, like this one, of various brands. And then I find I don't have to clean it again. Once I've done that, I don't even dry brush. Once I've done that, I don't tend to get any build-up of static or dust once I've properly used the VCS, dried it, and then put it away. And then a nice little mini fridge for beers and cokes beneath the project. It probably shouldn't sit on it, but it doesn't seem to do any damage. But that's really nice to just chill and have a beer after a hard week at work, see, on a Friday night. So that sits to the right of the A to Z. Then we move across to the 3rd and final Calax in the room. And this Calax, I'll just go back a bit. Obviously, it's the same size as the rest. It's 4x4, but it starts over here with the Beatles, hence the tag, and Beatles solo. Then it moves across to that entire cube almost being the Rolling Stones and Rolling Stones solo. Then it moves across to soul, which goes as I'm zooming down to here. Then jazz takes over before we finally move to metal and rock for the last three cubes. And then there's a pile of books in the corner too. So I've got one cube left at the bottom, as well as this V-shaped thing going on. So I've got room for expansion. There's probably room for one more small Kallax in this room, but you can see that the strategy is to ensure that I don't run out of space. So if you kind of sweep across the second and third Kallax, that's what it looks like. Then I guess if we look at the listening space, it is really comfortable. I've got enough room to entertain two, because I've got really, these are much more comfortable than they may look. Just armchairs that match my the unit that my hi-fi is sitting on, which I'll show you later. Some nice cushions there, so it's a really comfortable, light, airy space. Some nice radiators behind it to just relax in here, even in the heart of the UK winter, which is where we're at now, and minus 2 outside. I think it is. It's a really warm space to be in this room. And then if we go around to how I see things, and then we'll come onto the hi-fi. I've got this nice table to put drinks in, and I've really carefully positioned the main listening spot exactly where it should be between the speakers. You can see. So I spent a long time really ensuring that between Jerry and Garcia and the two speakers, that where you can see now my listening position is exactly equidistant between the tweeter of the two speakers, and it does work because the vocals are dead center in the soundstage is spot on for the system that I have. And what is that system then? Let's finish off the video with what the system is. We'll start with the speakers because that's where the camera's at, and these are Monitor Audio Silver 200s. I didn't truly hear just how good these speakers were until I finished this man cave, because they were never quite in the right space. I don't know if it's about 7 inches off the wall. Some might say it's too close to the wall, some might say it's not far enough in, but I experimented with that, and the bass response I'm getting in this room as it stands, I don't need to move these again. I really tried with that, both in terms of making sure they were equidistant to the listening position, but also how far they were off the wall, until, for me, that optimized the bass and everything, including the soundstage and how music was translating. So the Monitor Audio Silver 200s, really great speakers. I've got no immediate plans to upgrade these. I suppose they're mid-range, at about £1,000 in the UK, or they were when I bought them. You can probably get them for a lot cheaper now, because I think they've been replaced by an upgraded Monitor Audio Silver 200. So then we come across to what lots of people are waiting for, which is what's going on with the actual hi-fi sources and amplification. And so I've got, this is the Technics SL100C. Now this is interesting because all of the magazines and media seem to be pointing to the 1500C as the deck to have if you have a Technics. Whereas actually, for a similar cost, this has the same features, the same arm. It's effectively the same as the 1500C. It doesn't have a built-in phono stage. So you could say, well, Harvey, surely you were better off getting a deck that does have a phono stage built in for a similar cost. But I don't need it, because I've got an amplifier and I've got a separate phono stage, which I'll come on to. And so I think if you're not interested in you've got no use for a second phono stage, inbuilt phono stage, and you're going to use an outboard one, which most of us will, then this is still a great option, the 100C. I think it may even be slightly cheaper than the 1500C. But the point of this is, despite my Rega 6, which I'll come on to, on certain rock, this is both more forgiving and can be more dynamic even than the Rega deck. And so the second deck gives me a different sound, gives me a different option, and it's also got a removable head shell too, which all Technics have, which enables me to swap out for some of the cartridges that you saw earlier. Currently on there's an Audio Technica 95 SH Shibata cartridge, which sounds really, really sweet, and even has my Hana MC cartridge. Gives my Hana MC cartridge a run for the money at times too. So So yeah, Technics 100C, it's the second deck. My rig has the main deck, which I'll come on to, but it is nevertheless an amazing turntable, and it's it's the best part of £900. It's not an entry level. It's a mid range turntable, kind of the bottom end of mid range turntable. But I'm very pleased that I have two decks, not one. Okay, so that's the Technics SL100C. Now, going through the system, powering the SL100C is a Project Box S3B phono stage. This has been a real eye-opener. Previously, my Technics was just going directly into the phono stage of the Riga Brio 2017 amp. But yeah, this has lifted the sound entirely in terms of dynamism, soundstage, clarity, detail. It's amazing. So again, relatively mid-range, probably well coupled price-wise with the Technics SL 100C deck. But yeah, I'm a convert now in terms of having a separate phono stage to an integrated amplifier. As good as the Brio is, obviously Riga are a turntable manufacturer, and it is a good phono stage in the Riga Brio 2017. This Project Box S3B's made a massive difference. Probably purely situated, but just above the Riga Brio on top, although there are some isolation springs in between. Is the power. The power for power box for the Riga 6 PS power box for the Riga 6 just above it there. So that's the Technics setup. It's going through the Project Box phono stage through a Riga Brio 2017, and onto the main act, which is the best turntable I've owned in the Riga Planar 6. I'm sure that a Planar 8 or a Planar 10 or the new Naya sound much better, but in terms of pure musicality, again, I've got no immediate plans to upgrade this. It's coupled with a Hana SL moving coil carriage. It sounds phenomenal no matter what music you throw at it. It's involving. It takes you right into the music, and that can just disappear into any genre with the Riga 6. It's particularly good with great recordings. So as I said, the Technics can be slightly more forgiving, probably because it's not pulling as much information from the vinyl. But with a good recording, well mastered, the Planar 6 truly shines. And just draws you so much into the music. It's unbelievable at times. You could get out and walk around the instruments, as the cliche goes. Again, it has a phono stage that is not the Riga Brio. It couldn't be the Riga Brio because it's an MC carriage in the Hana SL. And this was my main upgrade this year to this phono stage. I don't know if you can see that for the glare, but it's a Lehman black box Sven Väth edition. So it's a special edition of the Lehman Black Cube. It's absolutely tremendous, and it truly allowed me to hear what the Riga 6 with the Hana SL is capable of. It's I hate to use the phrase night and day, but it really did lift the music to that sort of level when I added this phono stage earlier this year. It's not cheap. It's almost the same price as the Riga deck, and it's just over £1,000 for this phono stage, but it really was unquestionably worth it in terms of what it did. It just allowed the Riga 6 to truly shine. And then something I thought I would never do, I did this year, which is I added a streaming unit, this highly regarded WIM Ultra streamer. And I'm glad I did, because it's the softest, most analog digital sound I've ever heard in my life. It's not vinyl, it doesn't replace vinyl, and I still use streaming as an access point for what I'm going to buy on vinyl, but it's the closest I've heard to something that sounds natural when it comes to streamers, and it works really well with the system. So that just goes through the Riga 2017. I don't have an offboard DAC. It's got a really good DAC built into the WIM Ultra, so about £349. So I'd recommend this if you're looking for an entry-level streamer. just to add to your system, add to your vinyl system, or if you just don't like vinyl and want to have a streamer, this would be a good choice. And finally, under the system is these are special pressings, 120 special pressings directly under the hi-fi system. Not necessarily audiophile pressings, but things that were early pressings that I bought, or just things that are of sentimental value to me. Some of them are there because they are incredible pressings, but things that there was a fire, these are possibly the LPs I would save after my wife and kids, obviously. And so there you have it in terms of the system. Then the final piece, which is really important to me, are these open back hi-fi Sendera headphones, which are truly astonishing. Actually, again, the best set of headphones I've ever owned. They're not particularly expensive. They're not high-end headphones, but the sound is unbelievably good on the hi-fi Sendera. I should really try an upgraded version, trial some upgraded versions just to see if the sound is even better still, but I want for nothing in the minute in terms of how they sound when it's just too late at night to play the speakers. These are more than a good second option in terms of listening to my vinyl, listening to my music. So there you have it. It's now night time for the second part of the video, so you can see the man cave with all of the lights on. I'll just soften that a bit for the end of the video, but that was a real pleasure. I'll just sweep around to show you what the man cave looks like in its development, and there's a couple of things I still need to do here and there, and probably some more stuff to go on the walls, but I'm really happy with how it is and what it is as a listening experience, and just somewhere to be in solitude with the music, and also to entertain people too. So there you have it. That's my hi-fi music room tour for the VC, and I wish you all the best, and we'll see you in the next upload. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and let's see your room tours. I'm sure there are plenty in the VC who have yet to do a recent room tour, so that would be fantastic. Bye.